Got some Texas hair today, y'all. Give us a minute, see if anybody shows up. They may not. Starting the week can sometimes throw us all off kilter. My hair is got a mind of its own today. My hair has got a mind of its own today. I'm in a shawl because it's cold in Tennessee. Hello, Megan. And I just wanted to come on here because I took yesterday off. Honestly, just gonna tell y'all, I was just tired. I was just sick of the stupidity. So I took yesterday off. That and my RSD has been trying to flare. As I'm sure if many of you have kept up with me, you can start to see I'm showing signs of an RSD flare. So I just took yesterday off and needed to not be around stupidity. The weekend was kind of enough for me. So I'm sure it probably was for many of you as well. Today's been a good day because today was Oscar's 9th birthday. And I did a lot of reading over the weekend. Because I'm a curious person by nature. Let's just get that out there. I'm a curious person by nature. So when people try to use things to stump me, I want to read all about it. I want to read all about it. I want to know all about it. And I want to figure out how you think you're using this. Oh, it's okay, mate. It's just my health. It just, after close to 20 years of this disorder, I'm used to it. My back's been acting up today. I can feel my muscles and tendons starting to have issues. So I know I'm going to have a flare in the very, very near future. It's on its way. I'm just hoping it's not as bad as the last couple that I've had because they were atrocious. So I'm hoping it doesn't completely cripple my entire life. But I can tell that I've got one because I've got a bump there. I've got a big red spot there, a big red spot there, a big red spot there. And if anybody knows me when my face was doing this, you can see those red spots starting to come up because I am notoriously fair-skinned. RSD flare on the horizon. I know it's going to happen. So everybody just toss up a prayer for me. But anyway, after, the weekend and all that stupidity, I just needed to take a day off yesterday. I took a day off, had a great day. My health was not the best because of everything I could, we can now see coming down the gangway. But I enjoyed a quiet day. But I read a lot over the weekend. Hey, Priscilla. I'm live, but I don't think I'm going to be here long because I was snoring earlier, and I think that's probably something that my body wants to do again really soon. So I'll probably go back to bed here really soon. But I read after all the nonsense that happened with Heavy Duty Country and Riot. I read. You know what I read? I read a trademark textbook. Basically, trademark law, trademark education. Part of it was by Gerber Law, and then part of it was by a company that did textbooks. Anyway, it's 150-something pages. And so I tried to read it, tried to understand what was going on, because I know a little bit about trademarks, because I took a lot of law classes when I was in college. But I just wanted to pay attention and kind of know what was going on, because when Ron made the trademark troll, I thought it was epic, because it's kind of the best way to say, I have a lot of money, I can screw with your mind in ways that you think matter but don't. To me, it was the best troll possible, because if HTC responded, it meant, number one, that he did not understand the troll, and number two, that he didn't understand trademarks, and number three, that he was coming from a very scared place. And I thought, well, okay, if he responds to this, it will answer a lot of my questions. Because I had a lot of questions at that point. I tried all week to figure out if they were trolling each other, if they were working together to troll us, if this was a huge prank, if this was something that was going to immediately go away and they would be fine. I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand. And I tried. I let you all see me trying to understand and kind of figure out what was going on all week. Because I didn't get it. And so when Ryan made the trademark troll, I was like, oh, we're going there. Because anyone that knows anything about trademarks, you know that, yes, they're highly recognized, and yes, they mean you got some money, and yes, it means something may be going well for you, but it also means that you need a lot of security. Because a trademark is great. It's required for certain things in businesses and stuff like that. But it's not necessary unless you think somebody's going to steal your property. Even then, a trademark can be reduced down to basically common law use. And then somebody would, and anyway, regardless of whoever wants to steal a trademark, it basically is just a show of I've got money, time, and can annoy you in ways that you can't even understand. And I thought, oh, that was funny. That was an epic troll. Because it was just Ryan picking. Like, was he going to shut down his ability to use his trademark? No. Could he have? Yeah, he could have gone to federal court and said, hey, this was abandoned. I purchased it. I want him to cease and desist with everything with that name on it because I now own it. And he would have gone to federal court, and Ryan could probably win. Would Ryan have done that? No. We all know Ryan. We know how he trolls. It was just a massive troll. It would have taken so much legal action and so much legal time to actually be able to use that for himself. So we all kind of took it, with anybody that kind of knows, we all kind of took it as an epic troll. I've got money and time and can annoy you in ways you don't understand. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great troll. As far as trolls go, I thought it was epic. When Heavy Duty responded is when I knew he did not understand what was going on. And I knew at that point that it was not them working together to prank or troll fans. It was a very hairy scenario between two people, one of which is really good at being attacked and can roll it off and not make it personal and just kind of do stupid things to kind of be like, okay, stupid. You see the pattern? Stupid. Stop being personal. Stupid. And one of which that wanted it to be personal, wanted it to be a personal attack, and wanted it to hurt people very much. Actually verbalized that he wanted to do physical harm a lot. So I thought, well, something, I'm just going to sit down, because Heavy Duty went straight on the internet and was like, he's threatening my livelihood. And I was like, well, he's not. I mean, yeah, he purchased your abandoned trademark, but you still have common law use, right? And he would have to go to federal court to make anything of it, and he's just trolling you. Like, he's not going to take away your livelihood. Ryan's not, he doesn't do those things. It was just an epic troll, And Heavy Duty took it as a threat. He takes everything as a threat, even when it's just absolutely non-discriminatory stupid. But I saw something in his eyes during that video that bothered me. Like, he was deadpan ready to do physical violence, physical harm, justify it, and be okay with it. He didn't understand the joke. And that's when I thought, there's more to this that he does not understand. He has not understood any of this. And he probably didn't understand the contract he was under. And he probably doesn't understand how contract law works. And that's why his beef with Stone Baby Sounds, he brought Ryan into it. But if you're mad about a contract, you have to be mad about who your contract is with. And not mad at just anyone you want to bring into the scenario. So I was like, this is not being a funny. This is not being, ha, see how long you can keep this. This is being one person thinking this was funny, and one person really not understanding and really wanting to be threatened so that he could lash out. And that's when everything changed for me. I was like, okay, crap. This man does not understand anything that he has got himself tangled up into in the last few years. He is literally treading on ground so shaky that he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't understand how to navigate it. He doesn't understand how to talk about it. And he's on here creating issues because he feels threatened. Tip for Heavy Duty Country: if you feel threatened, crack open a book. Go see an attorney. Go talk to somebody in the field. Don't get on the internet and feign arrogance and then talk about how you really just want to box somebody. That's tacky as hell. I mean, I just feel that tacky as hell. I'm gonna eat granola. I'm just tacky. So, I read 150 something pages of trademark information in a law/textbook. Very dry reading. Very boring reading. Very informative reading. So a lot of what I knew was right. So you have to keep your trademark updated. You have to do things at certain specifically timed gaps. And every time there's a certain happening with your business or a certain development, then you have to report it, start all over, and then keep on those same time gaps. And it's a pain in the butt, if you ask me. It's a pain in the butt. And if you have a huge organization, it offers minimal protection. But if you don't have a huge organization, it really doesn't offer you any protection. It's just kind of like something you can brag about. I'm trademarked. So I knew that back in the day when Ron was starting out, that Bobby from Redneck Nation pretty much set everything up for Ron so that he couldn't get screwed over, including all the trademarks and handling all the growing trademarks and basically kind of putting it under an umbrella company kind of setup. So I wasn't really worried about Ron. Ron, when he showed the page, and he showed that it was Heavy Duty's actually his trademark that he had abandoned, and it showed abandoned, and then he showed where he had put in the application, which you have to put in an application to purchase that abandoned trademark. So I thought, he really did that. Okay. Epic troll, hilarious. Was he going to take anything away from HTC? No, he was just being a turd. Because if you know anything, you know that common law use in trademarks is just basically as tight as owning the trademark outright. You know, whether it's been abandoned or you've let it lapse, or common law use is just as legally binding as anything else. So if Ryan wanted to use it, he would have then had to have gone to federal court to request the transition to him of the entire name, the entire trademark, and all of its components and uses, because he would not have been able to have started using it while Heavy Duty was using it for the same things, for like shirts and stuff like that, and in the same vector for the same things, because there would have been a conflict, and he would, there could have been infringement issues. So Ryan would have had to take him to federal court to get all that straightened out. Could he? Yeah. Would he? No. He was just basically pranking the dude and doing an epic troll. That's basically what it was. Brian's not really mean-hearted. Like you said on the video, I'm petty, but at the end of the day, he's not going to take somebody's livelihood away from him. And he was just trying to do an epic troll without being, like, making it personal. Like, my big beef with Heavy Duty was that he in all of this, he chose to basically take a small business, which small businesses in America are dying rapidly right now, but he chose to take on a small business that basically did nothing wrong and blast them and basically want to tear them down. In a family business at that. So it was like, really? You're on this climb up to stardom, and you take a pit stop to tear apart a family-owned small business. But you say you're a conservative patriot American. I have a problem with that. So anyway, when he went back and he had the list of stuff on the page and said, well, I bought all of Upchurch's. Bobby has all of Upchurch's safely squared away under a separate, it's, go read Gerber law and trademark law. Anyway, what you can do, especially if you're in different geographical regions and you're not going to use the trademark in the same vector, then you can register any name, any words combined. You can register them, and as long as you're not in the same geographic location, you can register one that's already been registered. Anyone can get on and be like, I just want to, boom, I'm gonna, there's 3 of those in Wisconsin. Good thing I'm not in Wisconsin, and you're fine. The problem that will arise is if you try to move your business into a certain geographical radius of the pre-existing business, then you may have to go to court. One of y'all may have to slightly change your trademark name, or one will have to concede to the other and do a whole new name. But as long as you're not in the same geographical area, you're gold. I did not know that. That blew my mind, but that's how it works. and anyone can register any name, any letters, any numbers, any 2 words, anything, even if they're already registered. And there will be no conflict as long as they're registered in a different geographical location than what you're going to be registered in. So I didn't see any paperwork or any computer screen that said it had elapsed, or proof that it was actually Ron's, but whatever, But he could have just gone in there and registered words, and registered similar words, and he's not in the same geographical location. So it would have accepted it, and there would have been no issue. So I have a lot of questions about him trying to do this whole trademark thing. My thing is did he waste a whole bunch of money for nothing? Because again, common law use still protects basically the first person to ever trademark something as long as they're consistently and still using that trademark. The person that buys an abandoned trademark has to go to federal court and say, hey, they abandoned it, I purchased it, I want them to stop because I'm going to do a similar thing. And then the court will have to discern what's going on and who gets it. There is a grace period. The grace period holds it. It will not be put open for sale or a new application. And after there's a grace period and after it's properly been abandoned, then anyone that wants to purchase it, even the first person that had it, will have to go through a new application process. So the whole application thing is out the door, moot point. But literally, like, I could go on right now and register a heavy-duty country or an Upchurch. Well, no, I'm really close to Upchurch, so probably not an Upchurch, but I could probably register a heavy-duty country because I'm far enough away from him. So I was amazed to learn all of that. I read such boring literature all weekend. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Jessica. There were different fonts, and there were different ways that they were, made very distinctive. It could have been other people that had tried to hop on the bandwagon and register Upchurch's name, thinking that if they registered, he would have to come pay them for it, not understanding how trademarks work. So yeah, it could have totally been other people that had created or thought they were, getting ahead of the game, like when you buy a domain or something. But trademarks don't work the same way. So it could have actually been other people that had put stuff up and he had bought those. So yeah, that's absolutely a possibility too. So, but I read so much boring literature over the weekend. And I was just like, okay. But what really concerned me is when he did that last video, he really felt that his livelihood was under attack. And I was like, really? Because anyone that knows Ryan knows how Ryan operates, knows how Ryan trolls. Ryan kind of keeps it between you guys. He doesn't really separate and pawn off and attack other people or bring people into the attack. He kind of keeps the troll between the two people. And he normally doesn't troll about things that are terribly important. He won't troll about any kind of contract he's under or any kind of business he's doing, because that's something he keeps pretty private. He will only troll about stuff that he thinks is absolutely stupid. And so we all knew that he was trying just to be an epic troll and not really, I think he thought this was kind of an epic troll battle. And I had a hard time trying to discern what it was, so I guess maybe he was confused as I was. But at the end of Saturday night, if you go onto my YouTube page and look at some of the videos, he responded to several of them. We chit-chatted for a minute or two about how absolutely drained he was from trying to figure out all these people that were coming after him. And how there's more and more and more people just wanting to have beefs because they think a beef equals a payday, or they think a beef equals 1,000 or 1,000,000 subs, or and that's again what breaks my heart when he answered that last question on his Q&A, where he has to be sketchy about everyone. Yeah, I'm sure his life sucks in many ways. Because here's somebody that he thought he had a lot in common with, that he flew down, that he had a great weekend with, that he took to his shows, that he showed a behind-the-scenes glimpse to the music world. And this guy obviously had aspirations. And he got all of that, plus he got a very cheap production deal. Because Upchurch was like, oh yeah, I can introduce to somebody the cheapest way to get into music, if it's going to work, to see if it's going to work, is do some songs, produce them, drop them. If you get a good response, then you may want to look at, applying yourself more and dropping more money. But until then, just, play it safe and just produce a few songs and see how it goes. That would be my input there. And he talked to the production company that he works with, and they gave him a great deal. I think it was like $4,195 for 5 songs. So less than $1,000 a song. I think that's pretty epic if you're going to have quality music that's going to be able to be immediately released when they're done with it. That's great. So we had 5 songs to write. Stone Baby actually gets the beats, asks you which beats you like, how you like them, if you're leaning toward this or that. He said they stole beats. We found out, we got a statement from Ron. They purchase beats from independent artists on those websites all the time. It's a way to skip that step, not put a lot of your time into beats, put your time into lyrics and melody, and it helps independent young artists. It's a win-win for everybody. So they know he lied. They do not steal the beats. He tried to buy a vineyard. Sorry. See what anger will make you do. See how stupid people get when they get angry. Just don't do it. Don't get angry. Don't put yourself there. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. All of this was silly. Like, I don't mind a good troll every once in a while, but I don't think Ron knew how upset Heavy Duty was, and I don't think Heavy Duty understood enough of the business acumen side of things to understand he shouldn't have been mad, or the things he was mad about was not valid points, because they do buy their beats. They did not steal anything, and when they buy them, they can augment them in any way they want to, because they then own that, and they can change it if they want to. So all of that was a lie. But then, all he had to do was write songs and figure out the melody to go with the beats, and come in and lay them down. That's it. So he doesn't talk to Ryan for months, but he thinks Ryan, per his words, is to be his bitch and write his music. If somebody was writing my music and I had a music deal and I was gonna be laying beats, I was gonna be laying tracks down less than a year, I would be bothering him every day, and I would be shaping these songs up. I would be making sure we're on the same page. I would be trying out different lyrics. I'd be trying out different melodies. I would be asking for constant feedback. Isn't it strange that he never did any of that? Because when he finally did try to call, whoever had the number that Ryan used to have did not know who he was. And then he got mad because he thought Ryan did not recognize him. Well, when somebody buys a phone number, and that obviously they wouldn't know who you are if you're a stranger calling. So then he got mad because he said Ryan did not recognize him. Ryan did not have that number anymore. But don't you think you would have kept in contact a little bit more if someone was working in a contract with you? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Heavy Duty was absolutely, I just don't understand. I don't understand the man's thought pattern. But anyway, so didn't talk to him for months, and then calls and gives someone that is obviously super busy, has just come out of a year where he was limited as to what he could do due to court issues and a stupid women. So he was going back to work, getting pretty busy, and he calls during this guy's time where he's fixing to get really busy, and it gives him 3 days of an option to get together to lay down tracks. Now, number one, if you haven't talked to him in all those months, do you really think he's actually invested in anything that you think he's invested in? Because if I had a contract, I'd be talking to somebody every other goddamn day and making sure I milked his brain for all it was worth. You didn't do that. That's suspect number 1. Suspect number 2 is when you called the phone number, you thought somebody was just ditching you. You didn't know that Ryan had a new number. I'm not a mega fan, but even I knew Ryan had a new number. I've seen him talking a lot about having to get new numbers and people breaking into the farm and people getting his phone number, and I'm not a super mega fan, but I picked up on that pretty easy. And then he says that Ryan is supposed to be his, according to him, bitch, and write his lyrics. He's mad at Stone Baby Sounds because Ryan is not writing his lyrics. Now listen, I know a lot of people have attacked me and been like, well, Ryan, he didn't honor the contract. Okay, listen. Stone Baby Sounds is a business, is a production business. They do not employ Ryan Upchurch. Ryan Upchurch sometimes employs them for music, but Ryan does not belong to them. Ryan is his own sole entity. He stands over here. He does not belong to Stone Baby. Stone Baby cannot put in a contract that Ryan will do anything because they don't own him. He is not their property. Go to bed, Mom. I'm going to go to bed soon, I promise I am. And I've run into so many people that cannot understand that. They think that because Heavy Duty said that Stone Baby said Ryan wrote the lyrics, that somehow Ryan is in on this. Ryan is not part of a contract with Stone Baby Sounds because he doesn't belong to Stone Baby Sounds. I don't mind him buying beats. Like, the beats are not what I tune into the music for. I turn into the music for the lyrics. And so I don't mind him buying beats because I've watched like musicians lay beats down on stage, and I'm not gonna lie, I just find that terribly boring as well. So I don't mind him buying beats, and if they buy beats and it pays an up and coming artist that's getting started, that's great. That artist is getting to do their thing and learning the trade and making money. I don't mind that. Normally they buy the beats and they augment them a little bit. I don't mind that either because once they buy the beats, they own the beats, and so they can change them in any way they want to. So I don't mind any of that. It's all legal. It all works. If you knew how many musicians actually bought beats and bought melodies and didn't do anything but show up and sing, you would be amazed. You would absolutely be amazed. Because Laura Pergolizzi actually used to sing all the demos for people. And basically, a lot of artists would just come in and mimic her and let her iron everything out. And it blows my mind that artists care that little, but some of them do. But I don't mind them taking little shortcuts like that. It's, as long as they're making music with the lyrics that I want to hear, I'm okay with that. And everybody gets to make their own decision about that. I don't mind that. I understand how financially lucrative and overwhelmed the music business is, and if you can make a living doing something like that, more power to you. So, they didn't steal beats. He lied about that. Ryan cannot be under contract via Stone Baby Sounds because he doesn't belong to Stone Baby Sounds. So he didn't have a contract with Stone Baby Sounds that also included Ryan. He would have to have a separate contract with Ryan for lyrics, which he doesn't have. I sat here, and maybe I know a little bit more about the music business because my family had a gospel group for a long time and we were on the radio, and anyway, I understand more about it, and I've got a lot of friends that are in the music industry, so I get it, and I hear them fuss sometimes, and I understand. So maybe I just know more about it, so it doesn't surprise me. But I don't think Heavy Duty knew what he was getting into. I don't think he understood his contract. I don't think he understood any of it. Yeah, the troll was awesome. I didn't see. Oh, did ex-military do it? Dang it! Now I'm gonna have to go look. Yeah, the beats are just the beats. Yeah, I want to know who writes the lyrics and who creates the melodies and creates the song that I want to hear. That's what I'm interested in. So yeah. So I sat here and I was like, why is he going after a small business in America right now? My God, small businesses in America are dying right now. Why is he going after the small business? Why is he trying to throw shade at them, and nothing he's saying is truthful? And why are these people believing him? Why can't they do a little bit of research and understand that's not truthful? That's not how it goes. And so I think that, and plus the fact is that the phone call he made said November 10th, 11th, 12th are the days I'm thinking about doing this. So I'm sitting there going, okay, it's February. So if you think you had a breach of contract anywhere before November, why are we just now making an issue out of it in February? Well, isn't it convenient that the person he's irritated with just dropped a massive record? Just dropped a massive album. And that the other two people he mentioned, they're gullible, yeah they are, they're lazy. The other two people he mentioned just dropped a massive song. So that tells me he also held on to the information until it would benefit him the most to release it. So here I'm seeing a lot of half-truths or misinformation, or possibly he just didn't understand and believe the stupidity he was frothing at the mouth with. But for whatever reason, he held on to it until a timely moment where he could maximize his potential gain. So that irritated me. That all irritated me. Now, the things that pissed me the mother off was when he started bringing Boozy into it, and how Ryan featuring Boozy was somehow supporting BLM in pedos. Because if Heavy Duty wanted to incorporate that kind of thinking, then I could say that Heavy Duty, by being a friend and fan of Ryan, supports Ryan, who supports Boozy, who supports those things. Therefore, Heavy Duty supports those things as well. That is his logic. Now, I don't do that, because it's very much a left tactic to try to incorporate and pull people where you want them, rather than actually take someone at face value and handle who they are. And good night, Damon. So I kind of got irritated, because I thought he's stupid for doing that, because if he supported Ron, was basically trying to say he was fixing to be under contract with Ron, then would you not also be throwing support there by supporting Ron, which would support Boozy, which, and I was just like, is he thinking this through? Obviously not. So that pissed me off, because that's just not necessary. And we all know Boozy is crazy. I didn't know the man until all this happened, but I've researched him, listened to interviews, gone down the rabbit hole with Boozy, and let me tell you something. He doesn't get him an interview where he doesn't not say something hugely incredible. That is a shock and awe campaign that will scare people. That's how he operates. So to hear him say something else that was a shock and awe, to know that he got off parole in 2018 and was almost within a few months back under investigation by the Popo, was actively under investigation when that interview, which happened a couple 3 years ago, did occur. It hit news media, it hit paper media, as well as the web, and he was actively being investigated by the Popo. Everybody made a big deal out of it. If there had been anything going on in that home when that hit the fan, then the investigation would have caught it, and he would have gotten more charges. But he never got any charges, and there were no convictions, and there's been none in that area for him, even though he's done so many stupid things. But anyway, so the man doesn't even have a conviction for anything like that. He made an outlandish statement. People came at me saying there's factual evidence because he said it. That's not factual evidence. It's not factual evidence. That is just a recording, and they could have questioned him and been like, man, I was being an entertainer. That's what I say when I try to, wow people and shock them and make them listen to me and make them think, and that's very much his personality when he does these interviews. It would have had to have gone under investigation, and they would have had to have seen if there was any credible crap going on. Obviously, there wasn't, because he was actively under investigation for something else when all that happened. And if the cops had seen any hint of that, he would have been charged with that and convicted. Nothing in his history, nothing. So take that off the table. That doesn't count. But I was just like, what has made him so mad? And I think at the end of the day, what we have to chalk it up to, because what he was most concerned about was money and his livelihood. That was the repeated theme. Was money and my livelihood, money and my livelihood, money and my livelihood. And he wanted Ryan to pay him back. Which I don't know, that's like me going to Jenny Craig for 10 months because my friend said it worked for her, and Jenny Craig not working for me, and then asking my friend to pay me back because she talked me into it. Nobody can talk you into entering into an adult, you enter into it of your own free will. That's not going to hold up in court. Why do you think it's going to hold up like that? It just boggles my mind. I've sat through so many hearings in court because of my job and my careers. It's just stupid to think that would hold water. Yeah. And then the way that I was being attacked by, I'm trying to, sense of this, because that's who I am. Like, y'all watched me all weekend, tried to process and make sense of this. I was laughing at the stupid parts, but then I was like, why are people believing this? Why can't you all understand this? This is not how this works. I mean, pretend you're going to court. Do you think that would hold up in court? No, because it's not how it works. So I was getting really irritated with people that I was getting attacked. I got so many messages. I got so many emails. I got so many Facebook messages by Facebook users because they would make an account, send me a nasty message, and then delete their account so it just said Facebook user. And I'm like, man, if you're going to try to grow up here for 5 seconds, hang on to them for 5 minutes so I can see who sent it to me. So it was very upset. Hi, Daniel. It was very upsetting because I was like, man, he does, the first thing I realized was he does not have a very nice following of people. Like, they're vicious. They're very mean. One man was like, well, what makes you an expert in this area? And I said, well, I've spent a lot of time in court watching battles, and I understand how these things work, and I understand contract law, and I had some law classes in college, but I'm also ex-law enforcement, and I've done a lot of counseling, and I understand these little battles people get into because I've seen them, for my entire career. I had to sit there through the whole rest of the court so I could get to my revocation hearings. That was always the last thing the judge did. So I kind of have a pretty good capacity of knowledge in this regard. Well, that's like me saying I'm the deputy sheriff, so I'm as smart as the judge. You're just a parole officer. I wasn't just a parole officer, though. I did a whole God. I mean, I had to facilitate clemencies with the governor, so the governor knew me. The governor's office knew me. I did all the pre-sentence investigations. I walked murder scenes. I mean, I did the cognitive behavioral therapy, the anger management. I did the group therapy for addiction. I mean, I did everything. I was legit trained in every aspect of supervision, did every level of supervision, and even did the RF and GPS units for the sex offenders and the people that were on the high risk caseload. So I did so much, and I got to watch and learn a lot. And I don't do that to say I'm so smart. I do that to say I got to see a lot, and I put a lot of knowledge up here. And so when I question things, I'm questioning them because I'm trying to find the logic, and I could not find any logic. But I got attacked in so many ways by so many vicious people, and I was like, well, you people suck. Big time. And I left on his last video that he had uploaded this morning, I guess. I left a compassionate pleading comment as to what upset me and what needs to change before I will ever think about supporting him again. And what really irritated me was that he was trying to tear apart a small business. And while he was so concerned about his own well-being, he was not concerned about anyone else's, because a lot of the falsehoods and the misinformation he was spreading, he should have known better if he were truly an adult under contract. So I just was like, I'm done with you. And I've had so many people like that, and then send me ghost messages on YouTube or find me on Facebook or email me and been like, yeah, but I'm scared to say anything because his fans are evil. Yeah, they're a bunch of buttholes. I mean, I got a great laugh out of the epic troll that Ryan did with the trademark. Don't get me wrong. But I also knew Ryan was not going to take his livelihood away from him. That was just stupid. But at the end of the night, when I was sitting there just trying to take a breath, and Ryan was on my page and we were commenting back and forth at each other, I felt so bad for him because I could tell it had really taken a lot out of him as well. And it's just like, he should not have to go through this. And I understand, like, people get mad when he starts to pull back and he doesn't show every part of his life. He has to. Because everything that he opens up to share, he also opens up for feedback. And that means people like to take ownership. And then they want more. And then they want to have ownership over that behavior as well. So I understand why he said these people are draining me. I'm so drained. And I was like, I'm so sorry you've had a bad day. I'm so sorry this has been a bad experience. Don't worry, chin up. We know that this is not who you are and that what he's saying is not true. And you can be obligated to some baby sounds because you're your own entity. You don't work for them. You're not on their payroll. You're not an employee. You're not on their contract. That's not how business works. And we know you are not going to write songs for him. probably he wouldn't have cared to have helped, and had he called and asked for help in a polite manner, or kept in contact and been like an appropriate friend and kept contact, I don't think Ryan would have not helped him, but I think it would have been probably still not as much help as Dan wanted or needed. So I was just really upset about the whole thing. I thought that, you put yourself out in this public stance here, and people are just going to attack, and you have to. I just don't think he handled himself well. But the lies and the misinformation and the half-truths is really what really, I'm not with that. Ryan's mean. He's a mean troll. But he's mean to the person trolling him. He doesn't bring your sister, your mama, your aunt's business, your cousin's bakery, and some stranger off the road in on it. He pretty much stays straight with you and deals with you. But also, in the last few years, the demeanor of the fandom has changed. A lot of people that had an unhealthy attachment or an unhealthy fixation, it's gotten even more unhealthy lately. Because the world is changing, the world's going crazy, and people are looking for something to provide that stability and that comfort. And so people that turn to music are more so turning to music now. And people that romanticize the people that sing the songs that they like, they're even more enamored now. And they want to meet these people. They want to know these people. They want to basically become besties and get through this harsh time in life. And it's just not a feasible option. But these people that, bless their hearts, don't have the best cognition, think these things. And then they go online and they act very familiar and they create these issues. And yeah, Ryan does choose to engage with some that really irritate him. And I think that's probably going to lessen the more we get into the future. Because it's happening more because people are more unstable. Which means he can't troll as much because people are more unstable. So I think we're going to have less and less of Ryan in the future because people are more unstable. But I understand why. I think it's the right decision for him. And as, for being fans, we've got to hold ourselves to a better accountability. And I try not to be like blatantly mean to anyone, but I mean, I can hold my own and have a conversation and a debate. But now I was talked to in ways that I would not talk to a freaking dog this weekend. Probably by people that were 17, 18 years old. So it's just like, okay, yes, you're the brain, you know everything, and if I could say one thing, I would say, please stop. Yes, have fun, but please stop before it gets to a nasty place. Please stop before you want to physically harm somebody. Please not get online and talk about the way you're going to resolve this through physical violence, because there are people that follow you, that look up to you. I don't know why, but they do. You can at least give them a halfway decent role model. I mean, I have issues with the half-naked women in his videos that he smacks their ass. But anyway, he can at least give them a half-decent role model. Because what I'm seeing is they think that since he's such a bullish character that his fans should act in very much the same way. And it is very, very much a very toxic environment over there, especially if you have a different opinion. You're not allowed to. But for the people that believe everything he said, I just explained why none of it's true. So please go listen again, and listen again if it doesn't stick, and listen again if it doesn't stick, and listen again, because it's going to be very important as you grow up and go through life that you don't swallow everything, that you do your research and you understand legal infractions, contract law. You need to understand how to separate the persona from the person. You need to separate, a working relationship from a friendship, and you need to learn to separate basically a lie from the truth, because a lot of y'all did not get it this weekend. It was very horrible to watch. I haven't really checked on anything. I just know that he got on there and said he was going to be the bigger person and let Ryan's trademarks go back, but the thing is that he didn't buy any of Ryan's. Somebody said that they looked into it and he tried to buy an Italian restaurant or bakery or something that had the name of church. And I explained all of this. If you want to, when this gets done, if you want to rewind to the beginning and watch, I explained all of the trademark crap at the beginning. It's boring. I'm not going to go back through it. I read 150-something pages of trademark law and trademark textbook stuff this weekend. Like I went cross-eyed, but I did it. And I found some interesting stuff out. I put it at the beginning, so you can go back and watch that. But basically, everything Heavy Duty said this weekend was a bunch of crap. It was a bunch of crap. But he was so mad. And I understand he's mad. If you get confused, or you feel like you're not in control, or you don't understand what you've gotten yourself into, frustration is, is just miniature anger. I understand you're mad. But I would certainly think that somebody of his age would be able to handle it better. But as we now know, when he's off script, when he's doing stuff just by the seat of his pants, we see more of his demeanor, and his demeanor is very much not polite, not nice, very callous, and very harsh, very arrogant, very demeaning, very condescending. And he doesn't leave a lot of room for others in his world. And that's sad, because it's the others that you have in your world that help you stay calm, balanced, and help you talk through hard spots in life. And I think maybe if he had more people in that category in his life, he would not be, so mad and chucking out such nasty vitriol all the time. He would be a much calmer, happier person. And it may be, that may be the reason why he chose to do political rants and attack people. Maybe that is where he gets to offload his anger, so that he feels he can have normal relationships with people. I don't know. All I know is that what I saw was very poorly handled. His anger was very poorly masked. His desire to do physical harm was a huge red flag for me, and his desire to attack a family business with misinformation and lies was very concerning. And then the fact that he did not understand anything about contract law or trademark law, that kind of, to me, it was like, why are you here? Because if this were a place I was going to park my big butt and make my living at, I would know everything about it. Heck, I just wanted to do a live to give information, and I read a whole goddamn textbook. So, do your homework. Do your research. Check up on things. So, I was very upset. I was very irritated. And plus, right now with everything else going on in the world, do we really need to worry about HDC and his misunderstanding of contracts? So I just was like, okay. So today I've just kind of been like, okay, tonight I'll go and I'll clarify my thought patterns on it, and then I'm done. Because the man is not going to ever get from me. No more support. The fans, I'm sorry. If you come over here and you like my content, that's great. But if you come over here to harass me, I'm not going to put up with it. I found a very unhappy group of people, and I choose to not be unhappy. So I'm not going to choose to be in their group. That's kind of how I roll. So, I was very upset, Daniel, at how they behaved. I laughed a lot, too, until I realized that HDC was legit willing to hurt somebody. He was verbalizing it so much because he really wanted it to happen, and he really thought that his livelihood was being taken away, that he didn't understand, that told me he didn't understand what he was dealing with, he didn't understand what he'd gotten into. And when you're that big, you're that angry, you're that mean, and you're that confused, and you're that intimidated, there's no telling what you will do if given the opportunity to harm someone. So I was like, nope, time out. I'm not okay with this anymore. Because now we're in this could potentially hurt somebody realm. And it doesn't need to, at all. It was not funny at all anymore. Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. I get in that category a lot because I'm like, we don't want to understand this. Don't understand it. Just spread the false. And I'm like, no, I really want to understand this. I get attacked a lot because I'm curious by nature, so it's okay. I don't, even as old as I am, I'm still like, well, hang on. Let me read up on that and then I'll be back. And people get really irritated with me. But I just do not like, I'll tell you when I'm spouting my opinion, but when it comes to things like this, I really want to know what I'm talking about. Was that on video? Was what on video? I said a lot in the last minute. You're going to have to give me more than that. But yeah, as far as the physical violence, he kept trying to get Ryan in a ring. He wanted to put his hands on him. He wanted to physically harm Ryan. It was very clear. And doing counseling and understanding behavior and body language and nonverbal communication, he did that because he felt out of control, and that was the only way he knew he could gain control. And I'm sorry, but if you're going into a business dealing like that, you need to know what you're going into so that you don't feel out of control. Because somebody like him, a big old boy like him that does resort to violence, obviously because he keeps talking about it, you can really do some harm to yourself and other people. And it was like, buddy, don't do this. Know what you're getting into so that you don't, because if you're easily confused because you don't know what you're getting into, then you leave the door wide open for people to manipulate you. Don't be manipulated. Know what you're going into, school yourself, educate yourself, have a sound knowledge of what you're dealing with so that you don't feel manipulated. And then you won't have to resort to violence and be angry. It's really easy. It's really, really, really easy. Yeah, I saw some red flags, and that's why I did that, and I really was actually scared for him because the anger I saw come from him in that last video, I actually did live, and I was like, dude, if you're struggling, reach out. Heck, reach out to me. I will help you find resources. If this is a struggle up here for you, please talk to somebody. Because what I saw in that last video freaked me the crap out. Because that was a face that I've seen several times before. Because I supervised a lot of angry, violent, homicidal people. So I've seen those looks. And it scared me. And so yeah, if he needed help finding resources, if he felt he was struggling with something like that, yeah, I'd help him in a heartbeat. But I'm certainly not going to give him any more of my energy to puff up an ego that I think is toxic. So there, I'm done. And everybody's like, well, Ryan's mean. Ryan is mean. And Ryan can also be the meanest to himself out of everybody. Normally the beefs he has, he trolls and moves on. He doesn't threaten harm or say, come get in the octagon with me, or lie and throw out misinformation and half-truths and try to ruin businesses and stuff. He pretty much has a beef, creates a persona to deal with the beef and moves on. It's normally pretty funny, and it's normally a healthier way to deal with it than if he were to sit there and compost about all the people sending him hate every day. So, for the most part, I don't mind the way Ryan processes it because it works fairly well for everyone included. This is just the last few weeks I've had a couple of times with some very extreme scenarios and some very extreme personalities with some very extreme beliefs. It's not worked out. And I think he's paying attention to that and going, yeah, I'm going to have less and less contact in the future. And we're all going to be mad about that, but that needs to happen. It needs to happen. Yeah, you can actually go onto some of the videos, the last two videos I did on Saturday night, and he actually responded, and we did a back and forth in comments. And it's all there, you can see it. But he said that these people have drained him. And I think he might have even talked to another person or two. But he does frequent my videos. He sometimes jumps in on my lives. That's happened before. Cracked me up because I had to make fun of him. Asked him how he got here because he was so good at getting lost in the woods. But I like to pick on the boy. I like to mama hit the boy. I really care about the boy. I think he has a lot of talent, and I think he's got a really good demeanor, and I don't think he forgets where he come from. I think he is always going to know what it's like to not have 2 nickels to call up squirrel. And so he doesn't act bigger than, what he is. And, he can put on the bravado and put on the persona and put on a show, but when he comes on stage, he's just Ryan. He's just a person, and he's struggling with everything we're all struggling with, and he has to deal with the same things we're all dealing with. And I like that he keeps it pretty true, and he doesn't try to project himself in some perfect way in a perfect world. He shows us his cars break down. He forgets to buy his tags. He does stupid stuff. He likes junk food. He struggles with his relationships. He's been very honest, and so I enjoy that. Yeah, go ahead and look. One of them was the last one that actually, it was only just a few minutes long. It was 6 minutes long. He replied on that one, but I think he actually replied on one of the lives as well. But go look on the last couple of videos and you can see where he had a little dialogue. Now I have spoken to him before. I spoke to him last year. Between the Katie Noel and the Arbor drama. And we had a very good little discussion. And I was very happy with how easy he was to talk to. He was just I really feel like I'm dealing with my son because my son and he are so similar. So I mama him the boy to death. But he's very respectful, very sweet, very easy to talk to. And that was when I was doing all those videos where I was breaking down the psychology of a lot of what he was going through. And so we had probably a 20-minute conversation through video chat, Instagram, back and forth. And and it was a very positive experience, and he was very sweet, and I could tell that he was at a point where he was beginning to make better decisions for his life. And I'm, that age is, it's messy to grow up, y'all. It's hard to grow up. It's messy. It doesn't go as planned ever. There are problems. And so I was happy to talk to him. And it was right around the time that I made the, if you want salt and vinegar chips, don't go and get the Flamin' Hot Cheetos. The Flamin' Hot Cheetos are going to cause you pain, but you buy them anyway. Packaging. Packaging should tell you what you need to buy and what may hurt you. Packaging counts. It counts in women too. Look at how women package themselves. You can tell which ones are the good salt and vinegar standard classics and the ones that are the Flamin' Hot Cheetos that are going to burn your ass. So that was my lesson to him, and he thought that was terribly funny, and we had a talk very shortly around that time. And I'm going to be doing that interview very soon. So I'm trying to distance from this issue because I don't want to talk about. I said I don't want to talk about this with you. We will not talk about this. So when I do the interview, I want it to be a positive interview about things that people in my age range would want to know, would have questions about, would want to understand a little bit more. So I'm just trying to give him some space to get away from this, and then we'll do the interview. So we have that to look forward to, and I'm going to enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy the way his brain works, so I'm going to enjoy it just because I'm a psych nerd, and I'm going to be like watching his brain change channels and click, and I'm going to be terribly happy to monitor him and see how he handles the interview. I'm really not going to go on there with anything like notes or anything because I will screw up if I have notes. I am much better if I just go off the fly and fill out the discussion and respond appropriately. So I do have some topics that I'm interested in, but I'm not like going to try to script out an interview. I just want to have a very easy, organic conversation with him and see what it turns into. So it's very much going to be a mom interview. So all of you younger people, I apologize, but I'm old. And my health issues make me feel older, so sorry. But we're going to be doing that here in a little while around his schedule. Yeah, he's interested in psychology. And I'm going to say, ha ha ha, maybe I kind of created that curiosity. Because he was very interested in lots of my videos and responded to lots of my videos and thanked me for some of the knowledge I dropped. So I'm like, okay, maybe I had a tiny thing to do with that. But I've also kind of thrown out some warnings that psychology is also a very dark study. And when you understand how psychology has been used by our government, it can get really bleak to know what you're going into. So, but I think that he has one of those brains that would be very, very, very positive dealing with a study in psychology. He has one of those brains that can, just absolutely hold useless knowledge till the cows come home. That's how mine is. I hang on to the weirdest crap in my head. But he can also recall it and use it in a moment's notice. So he's going to be very good at dealing with psychological studies and interacting with people in that manner because he's going to have great recall with his brain, and he's going to have great application with the way that he's really good with people and enjoys communication. So I'm anxious to see kind of what he does with it if he goes to school and what he does with it, because I think he'll be really good at that. Yeah, I learn stuff every day. I learn stuff every day, and I'm like, wow, this never ends, does it? You just keep going. Now, I am more of a forensic psychology component because of the corrections field. I did not go for licensure. I went to the widest net cast possible because I was actually going to be kind of recalibrating prison systems and how we structure and store our inmates. For a reduced rate of institutionalization and all that stuff. So that was what I was really excited about. Had I known that I was going to get a neuromuscular disorder that was going to make me go crippled, probably would have went for licensure so I could sit on my hind end and still counsel people. Now, have I counseled? Yes. Legally in the state of Tennessee, I can counsel directly under a licensed professional that just signs off on my treatment plans. I counseled a lot. That's how I ended my career. I can do on-site counseling under a licensed professional, and basically I'm treated just like a licensed professional myself. They just have to sign off on my treatment plans. That's all it is. So I counseled a lot, did a whole lot. And that's how I kind of ended my career. I worked as long as I could until the hospitalizations were just too numerous and I had to give it up. But I really love it. Now, online counseling, if they ever open it up to where online is like on site in Tennessee and you can work under a licensed person and they just sign off, then I will probably go back to counseling. I won't be able to do like full time or a whole lot, but I would like to go back to it because I genuinely miss it. I enjoy people. I enjoy people even when the only thing that bring me are problems, but I just enjoy people and I enjoy helping people. So I really enjoy that. And I hope maybe that online counseling will catch up with on-site counseling very soon. Because I'm bored. Bored. Yeah, the being a parole officer and being in charge of the violent offenders. So I had all the murderers and all the like aggravated assaults, um, domestic battery. So I had all of those people, and then I did sex offense as well for a while. So yeah, you have to develop a shell to deal with a lot of the stuff you will see. And I also did all of the pre-sentence investigations, all the reports for the court system. Any of them that were like murder or very messy, that I did them because that was where I shined. That was I was going to end up supervising, so I just did the pre-sentence investigation for the court. And so yeah, you see a lot, you know a lot that you can't ever divulge, and you have to learn how to compartmentalize very, very effectively, almost too effectively. Sometimes I look at my husband and I'm like, this is my unhealthy coping skill. Shut up. That's how I get through, you know. But I have like autopsy photos and murder scene photos and stuff in my head that at 2 a.m. will just, boom, you remember this. And so you have to become very well versed in handling your filing system internally. And almost to a point where you it's probably slightly unhealthy. You know what I mean. But I do it well. I mean, what well, and you know, that's one of those very nuanced discussions because yeah, I saw some horrendous cases in that regard, but I also saw a lot of power plays with the state. So a lot of people that were charged that would have had to have waited for 2 years for a hearing and wouldn't have ever been able to have made bail before the hearing. They couldn't stay in custody for 2 years because they would lose their business, their job, their family, their home, everything. So they would do a plea deal to a lesser charge, but it would still be a sex offense and still be supervised for a while and have to register. Where if they'd gone to trial, I don't think they would have been convicted. And so I know that there are a lot of people that have sex offense charges and are actively registered that probably never did what is on record. They just could not take it to trial. So you see, when you work in that, when you work in that world, you see that, and you're like, this is not how our justice system is supposed to work. I saw one girl that was like 15, 16. She sent like 5 or 6 men in a year and a half to the pen. And thank goodness that was going to go through a community corrections program to be supervised, so I didn't have to deal with that. But sitting in chambers with the court one day, and I was looking at the judge, and everybody was being kind of quiet, and they kind of filed out, and I looked at him, and I was like, hey, you know that girl and those 5 guys? And then he's like, yeah, what? And I was like, why have we not brought neglect charges against the parents? And he just looked at me as if to say, oh yeah, we haven't seen that. Because, he did a 5-county seat circle. And so he was like, oh yeah, we haven't seen that, have we? I was like, no. If she's away from her home long enough to have intimate relationships with multiple men of this age, why are we not holding the parents under investigation and in family court to be looked into for possible neglect or abuse? And he goes, oh crap, Elizabeth. And I was like, yes, oh crap, indeed. And so then he shut down the whole courthouse and had the cops show up. And sure enough, these 5 men that ended up in prison, multiple prisons across the state of Tennessee, had had basically not been her mother's favorite people and had been set up. And it had basically been a sting by the mother. So she was pimping out her daughter to get back at people in her life that hadn't treated her so well. Yeah. And you just kind of lose faith in things there for a while. And you're like, oh, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. So, yeah, you see a lot of stuff you don't want to know. But, you know, and therein lies some of the failures with our justice system. It needs to be revamped in a lot of ways. We need to have a more critical eye. In some of the places they don't think there needs to be a critical eye, there needs to be a critical eye. Hey, Hillbilly Reacts. Oh, yeah, I told everybody about your channel. Have you had any kind of resolution there? Have they said anything? If y'all don't know, Hillbilly Reacts channel was shut down by YouTube with absolutely no, like, previous inclination anything was wrong for nudity and pornography, of which he's never even had on his freaking channel. I'm amazed I'm still on YouTube. I think it's my accent. I don't think the bots can understand me. But, yeah, so watch out. YouTube is being a butthole right now. So, I keep waiting for the hammer to fall on me. Gosh, you need to do another one. And when you set up another one, you need to let me know so that I can do a community post and send everybody to you, because what they did is wrong. And if you can figure out who the mole may have been, if there was possibly a mole, yeah, that might be something you want to start watching for as well. So, because that's horrible what they did to you. Absolutely horrible. But, well, I've got me some cran grape and granola. I'm going to go eat me a snack before I get ready for bed. But, anyway, that's just kind of where I was, where I've landed after the weekend. The power of the accent. Yeah, it works. So that's what I've thought about all day yesterday, and I know reading useless knowledge that I can't now, like, delete from my brain. It's in there, taking up space. So in 15 years, when somebody pops off with a trademark issue, I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. But I read it because I wanted to know what I was talking about more than what I did, and I read this stupid thing. So it's all up again if you want to go listen to it. Everything I found out. Yeah. And so I'm just like, you know, met some hateful people, but that's okay. Because I met some really good people. I had one lady come here and she was very mad at me, but by the time she talked to me, calmed down, we had a conversation, she subbed and apologized. And she was like, I really like your channel. And I was like, I know, we're good people here. So I normally can get people through their anger pretty effectively. Normally because I don't really get mad. I get upset and I get indifferent. Especially with people that put themselves on here and ask for people to follow them and then pull these little power plays. But I don't really get mad at regular people, so. Yeah, everybody have a good night. Hillbilly Reacts, please do another channel and please let me know what it is so I can share it with everybody, please. Because, like, when I couldn't sleep, you were, like, the place I went to hang out. So, like, I don't have a place to hang out now. I can't sleep. And I'm sure everybody would like to get back together on a channel again as well. So let me know. I'm going to go and nibble something, some granola, and get ready for bed. But that's what I found out. That's what Ron said in the comments where he had a little chit-chat under a couple of my videos from, like, Saturday night if you want to go check it out. And that's where I am on my feelings with Heavy Duty Country. And now we move on to see what the next phase is, because he's in my rear view, and I'm not doing a UE for nothing. I'm over that one completely. So, had Oscar's birthday today. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do something a little bit more, like, knowledge, education-wise, if I feel like it. Because y'all know I've got a flare coming up. You can start to see the little red spots. But if I'm good and I'm able, I'm going to do something education-inclined. So, I will be back tomorrow with that. Thank you for spending time with me. I appreciate your time because you can't get it back. It's the most valuable thing you can offer to me, and I appreciate it. And I will talk to you tomorrow or upload a video. So, Mama Liz out. I'm going to bed. Bye, y'all.